Hello, I'm Audie Jake, and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be doing something a bit different. I want to talk about something that I feel really needs to be talked about. I mainly just want to talk about what J.K. Rowling said about autistic trans people, and what the community's general response has been. Before we start, I want to give a trigger warning for transphobia and even a bit of ableism, so be careful if you're going to watch. First, I want to give a bit of background. So you might have heard about what happened with J.K. Rowling last week. She recently went on a transphobic rant on Twitter, and quite rightfully got called out for it. This isn't the first time this has happened either. A couple years ago, she liked a series of transphobic tweets, but at the time her publicist blamed it as being a senior moment. And then last year, she defended a known TERF on Twitter. And finally, we get to last week when Rowling made a full-on transphobic rant on Twitter. Then, a couple days later, Rowling put out an essay where she basically doubled down on her position. The whole essay is rife with transphobia. If you want an in-depth idea of why what she said was so awful, then I would suggest that you seek out trans people who have talked about it. This is incredibly dangerous because Rowling isn't just anyone. She's a billionaire who wrote one of the most famous book series ever. She has a lot of influence, and that's what makes this so dangerous. But what I really want to do is talk about something in specific. At one point in the essay, she decides to bring autistic trans people into it by basically implying that autistic people are easily confused and manipulated into believing that they are trans. This is a deeply ableist idea, and one that has often been used against trans autistic people. To suggest that autistic people are not able to be aware that they are trans and just confused is deeply ableist. We are just as capable of self-awareness as anyone else, and not just that, but autistic people are much more likely to question their gender identity than allistic people are. The Autistic Women in Non-Binary Network actually crafted a really well-written response to Rowling's comments that I would like to read you an excerpt from. They said, "Further, we are horrified to learn that Rowling has chosen to double down on her initial statements by questioning whether or not autistic children are being manipulated into falsely believing that they are transgender. Such statements, commonly made about autistic children who were assigned female at birth, rely on ableist beliefs about autistic people's incompetence and presume that cisgender and neurotypical people know us better than we know ourselves. AWN is encouraged that larger numbers of children, both autistic and non-autistic, are willing to explore their genders today than were in decades past. This demonstrates the power of community, support, and affirmation for multiple gender identities and expressions, and for people who are questioning and exploring their own sense of gender. I would encourage you to read the rest of AW's response, as it is really good. I'll leave a link to it down in the description. Finally, if you know autistic people, a lot of us tend to speak our mind, especially about injustices, and that's just what many autistic people did. The hashtag #WeAreNotConfused was created on Twitter, where autistic trans people have been tweeting to basically say that autistic people are not confused and know who they are. I would suggest taking a look at the hashtag if you have the time. To conclude, I just want to say that I believe it's important to listen to and uplift trans voices. I'll be leaving some resources for trans charities in the description. Until next time, goodbye.